there, I'm Zara Denijo, and this is the Roundup with Zara Denijo. Today we'll be discussing the impact of social media on mental health. In this day and age where we are all addicted to our social media apps, with all the interactions and characters on social media, it is little wonder that there are serious implications for our mental health. We hit the streets to ask people how they thought social media was affecting their mental health. Let's take a look.
Social media has its positive and negative ways. In a positive way, there are sometimes I feel down. I go to social media, I laugh, and there are other times when I have serious panic attacks based on what I see on social media. I shouldn't say this, but I have anxiety disorder, and then some kind of stories that just flare it up and everything. Yeah, so especially cases of people committing suicide and the rest. Yeah, so it has really gotten a turn out of me in some way.
Just be free now, live your life, man. Like most people are on this social media, like they're living a fake life. So basically, you just have to be yourself. It doesn't really matter how your friends are doing. It just matters how you're doing and how you're trying to grow.
Social media has been going, like it's something that is part of our life now. So, and people have been addicted to it, and some of us gain things, some of us lose things in social media.
The fact is that I'm more or less addicted to social media, WhatsApp to be specific. And because I don't really want to get too much addicted, hence some other mainstream social medias I don't so go in there. Something like Facebook. I am not really in Facebook. I can't remember the last time I go into Facebook since my last account was hacked. And even Instagram I don't really to go into. But in terms of WhatsApp, anytime it's just like I just have to as if any message comes in, it's as if there is already a connection.
Social media, sometimes when you are on social media, they used to post some invaluable comments that is not necessary. So I think that is one of social media that affects human being.
With me in the studio to dissect this issue is Aisha Buba. She's a psychologist, a therapist, and a mental health counselor. Welcome to Roundup.
Thank you.
So how does constant social media use affect our mental health?
So I think it's important for us to establish what mental health is. It's a state of well-being where an individual is able to cope with the stressors of life and can contribute meaningfully to their society, can maintain healthy relationships. So this is what sums up what mental health is. And social media definitely impacts our mental health, both negatively and positively. But looking at negatively, for example, like you mentioned, the addiction, the constant looking at your phone, the constant checking, the constant wanting to be involved with trends and events happening. So if you look at the amount of time spent on social media, and that's not where you work, and that's not where your family members are, that's not where you relate to them. So what time is there for other activities in life? Mm-hmm. What time is there for work? Mm-hmm. What time is there for spending time with family, doing things you enjoy? Mm-hmm. What time is there for physical interaction? Mm-hmm. So it takes that away, which at the end of the day ends up leaving you more stressed. Because, for example, let's say you work or you study and you spend a lot of time on social media, all those things you have to do are pending.
Yeah, so you're not as productive as you should be.
You're not as productive, and then it ends up making you stressed out, and then that's where you start getting to burnout, and then everybody's just tired, but you're not productive, and you're wondering what's going on. And it can also affect your sleep, and sleep is one factor that definitely influences your mental well-being. If you don't have enough sleep, of course, we all know what the ripple effect of lack of sleep is. It affects the neurons in your brain. It keeps them active. For example, when you keep checking at night, so you realize that you find it hard to fall asleep early. You're 12 a.m., 1 a.m., you're still awake, So it has a way of also keeping your brain active. And let's not even talk about the other big factor, especially that affects young people, cyberbullying.
Yeah.
which happens a lot on social media. Cyberbullying is real. It's as detrimental as you can think of. It can lead to depression, anxiety, suicide in extreme cases. And this happens a lot on social media. You just need to get on it once. You would find one person that's getting bullied or that's getting shamed because of one thing or the other. So these are some ways that social media affects our mental health and much more, but I guess we'll look more into it.
Yes, we will. Like you did mention cyberbullying. How do you, so there are two questions I have. How do I protect myself and my mental health from the effects of social media? Is there a healthy way of being active on social media?
Yes, definitely. It's about being intentional, right? Too much of everything is not good, even the best of things. Like I said earlier, social media has its own good in a way that can influence your mental well-being. But you have to be intentional about it. You have to control it, basically. It's not like social media should be controlling you.
Right.
For example, you have social media apps. They all have notifications. Everything has notifications these days. And you're trying to concentrate on something, your phone is beeping. You're back to something, your phone is beeping again. So before you know it, instead of the activity you're supposed to be focused on taking your time, it's the social media apps that are now influencing how you live your day. So you have to know how you control that, either putting your phone on silent, so that the time that you give yourself to go on social media is when you actually go on social media.
You're saying that we should plan when we are on social media. What's the best time to be on social media?
So there wouldn't be one best time for everybody, because especially now with remote work and everything, everybody has different ways and schedules of doing things. But look at your break time. Not all of your break time, some part of your break time, maybe in the mornings before you begin your day, depending on if it doesn't affect your productivity. But one thing I would say is avoid it at night before going to bed. Because like I said earlier, it fires some neurons in your brain. It makes your brain active. So even when you've dropped it, you're trying to sleep, it's hard because your brain is wide awake. So avoid it at night when you're trying to go to bed.
So let's talk about the bullying that goes on social media. What resources are available for people who are victims of cyberbullying?
So I think importantly, resources that should be available are not very much available. We have some, but I would establish what resources need to be in place. Let's say, for example, with teens, you find that most teens now have access to social media. They spend a lot of their time in school. Schools need to do more on educating teens about cyberbullying. What does it mean? How do you protect yourself? How do you identify it? How do you not be a bully yourself? Parents need to have open conversations. They need to be able to monitor what their children or their teens are getting into on social media, what's not healthy for them, what's healthy for them. For adults, it happens to us too as adults. Anybody who is on some popular social media knows not to make a mistake even with your grammar, because then again, people can come for you. So when you find yourself overwhelmed, getting depressed or anxious about what's happening with you on social media, seek help. Speak with someone. You can speak to a friend or a trusted family member or a trusted support system. You could speak to a counselor, which is not very much readily available for us in this part of the world. But for example, in the FCT, we currently run a helpline on the national emergency number 112, which started last year, 2021. You can call at any point in time to speak to a counselor. And these are type of issues that you can speak to a counselor about. This is what's happening to me. How do I deal with this? This is how I am feeling. So it allows you to just take off the burden of yourself and just rub minds with somebody. So that's another resource that's available. For those outside the FCT, there are so many other NGOs, not so many, there are a few NGOs out there that are also providing mental health counseling support for people who are struggling with one form of mental health issue or the other. And cyberbullying is definitely a major contributor to poor mental health.
Yes. Yeah. So apart from, like as a therapist, what social media app do you think is the most toxic for mental health? in your estimation?
Are you sure they won't sue me? I can, as you said that, I could think of one like immediately or two, but
Because people always say Twitter is a tough crowd.
yeah, it is a very tough crowd. I use it too, but I am very, very conscious of how I use it, how I put myself out there. And almost every day when I check my timeline, I can see cyberbullying happening in one place or the other. It's your opinion, it's your life experience, but then everybody just changes everything, you know, and turns things around. So that can be toxic to a very large extent, depending on how people use it.
But don't you also think that we've gotten to a point where we share too much on social media? I feel like the less we know about each other on social media, the better our interactions will be.
It's not even, I think, the too much, but it's social media is an illusion. People show you what they want you to see, but what's out there, it's not necessarily what's there. When you talked about which one is more toxic, there is another platform that maybe allows people to show pictures of events going on with them, and everybody's life looks very rosy and glossy, and you're like, okay, all the issues happening, who are they happening to? You know, so it gives this illusion. It doesn't necessarily, even when people share so much, it doesn't necessarily reflect reality. And some people get affected by it. And they feel like, oh, I'm not doing so much. I'm not achieving much. My life is not good enough. You know, they don't focus on the little good moments in their lives because they are seeing all of these really glossy, fancy things that's being shared by a lot of people. But a lot of times it's just an illusion.
Yeah. But what about using, so for example, on platforms like Twitter, they have like mute buttons, and then they have mute functions for certain words that can trigger you. Do you advise users to take advantage of these resources?
Please use it as overuse
Muting,
it.
blocking.
Yes, please. Use it. Everybody has a reason for being on social media. Some is to educate themselves. Some is to put out their brand or their business. People are there for a lot of positive reasons. And if this is other toxic things are getting in the way of your goals, please delete, mute, do whatever it takes to just cleanse your own timeline and let it reflect your goals for being there. Yeah.
If someone has been bullied online, what steps should they take immediately they start feeling anxious or depressed?
Yeah. I think it's important to stay off. Sometimes we feel the pressure like we need to fix it, we need to fix it, we need to. Sometimes it's beyond you, you really can't fix, and the more you keep pushing, the worse it keeps getting. So give yourself some time off. And if you notice with social media, people move on.
Yeah.
As intense as something is, people move on immediately.
Yes.
So just give yourself that time for things to die down a little bit. Even if you feel like you need to do damage control, before you end up doing more damage to yourself, just take some time off, take that break, and give yourself time. As you're healing, you're also trying to understand things better, your thoughts get clearer. So whatever you're going to do, whatever your reaction would be, will not be from a very overwhelming place, but from a more well-thought, well-planned place. So give yourself a break. If it's getting overwhelming, you're finding yourself getting super depressed or very, very anxious, speak to a counselor, seek help. There is so much, now it's not like it used to be 5 years ago. There is so much of resources you can even find online that you can just self-help yourself.
Yes.
There is so much access to people you can talk to, professionals that can help you cope with it. So focus on using it for that purpose.
Yes.
And
It's still the Roundup with Denejo. I will be right back. Welcome back to the Roundup with Zara Denejo. If you're just joining us, we're discussing the impact of social media on mental health. I'm still with Aisha Buba, and our discussion continues. What do you suggest governments should do? Do you think that governments should censor social media companies, or that social media companies should regulate themselves?
so I think when we talk about what government should do, we are always looking at from the consequence angle. After it has happened, government should do this to stop it from happening. Maybe we can look at it from a different angle. So when we talk about mental health is not something that's been addressed by creating a consequence or a punishment or taking away something. Because like I said earlier, it has its own good sides, right? We reach a lot of people in Nigeria through digital outreach, right? How about equipping people with the skills to be able to manage all of these negative consequences? Technology is moving very rapidly. Things are evolving. And as they come with positives, they will definitely come with negatives. How about we have individuals who have the skills, who have the life skills to withstand bullying, individuals who have the life skills to not be bullies, individuals who have the life skills to know when they are getting stressed out or when something is overwhelming them or when they are feeling depressed or anxious, what to do to improve that or how to seek
Yeah, but
help.
what skills do I need to not be bullied?
This is very, look at school curriculums, right? Starting from our schools, like every single school in Nigeria, irrespective of where it's located, how many schools have school counselors? That when a child is getting overwhelmed, they can speak with. That lets them know that it's okay to feel ABC type of emotions, and when these are happening to you, these are the support systems that are there in the society to help you. Right? Look at our curriculums. How many of them have mental health education? How many of them have life skills? And when we say mental health education, we're not just talking about teaching people about depression, symptoms of anxiety, symptoms of all the mental health disorders. There, no. Teaching kids about how to be assertive, it's mental health education. How to be able to speak up when things are not right. How to be able to look out for themselves. Teaching kids how to manage stress, it's mental health education.
But what about, I'm already an adult and I'm already on social media. How can I protect myself?
So
what skills do I need, really?
That's where we go gradually. So how do you protect yourself? You need, assertiveness is not just for kids, it's for every individual, even as an adult. Unfortunately, people look at, oh, where can I seek this as an adult? That's why workplaces also need to do better in terms of having mental health policies, in terms of having policies that checks bullying, that checks when an employee is getting overwhelmed by something, what support system is there for them. As an adult, you also need to wake up and seek things for yourself. You need to learn assertiveness skills. It's not too late. You need to look at how you can learn how to use social media better. You need to be able to know how to look for positive things on social media. For example, like I said, we use social media, even as an organization, for digital outreach. We put out a lot of resources about how to take care of your mental health when you're struggling with bullying. This is how it feels like, this is what you can do when you're struggling with drug use or addiction, you know. All of these resources are there online. As an adult, you have to seek them also. So you have to also know how you regulate. Regulation doesn't always have to come from government. Government can regulate. You also need to regulate as an individual. So yes, government can regulate and censor some things, but it's like once this is censored, something comes up again. Twitter was banned a couple of months for a while. And did cyberbullying end in Nigeria? No, it did not. There are other platforms that can happen. So what does this do? Does it stop the fact that cyberbullying is happening? So maybe more policies that actually checks these type of things and regulates them and checks the type of conversations that happen, you know, all of these type of things. Because cyberbullying happens even in situations where you think you are advancing a good cause for the country, like activists. Activists can be cyber bullies.
And they can be narcissists.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So they are doing a work that's supposed to advance the cause of maybe marginalized people or vulnerable groups or for the advancement of the political situation of the country. But in the process of driving that, they can also be bullying people.
Yes, because what tends to happen is that you are interacting with people who are like you. So you're literally in a bubble. And when you come across someone who doesn't agree with your worldview or your point of view, your answer is to attack.
Yes.
Your answer is not to educate or to dialogue.
Yes.
Your answer is to attack. And I think the model for it is, the algorithm model for it it supports that. The more outrage there is, the more your engagement, the more people see your content. Is that also a mental health issue?
You mean the way they react?
Yes, the reactions.
So everybody has a mental health, right? Sometimes it suffers distress, just like when you have a physical health. Sometimes there are challenges with it, sometimes it's top-notch, it's good, and it's in a good place, right? So the fact that you're a certain type of person doesn't make you immune or doesn't protect you from going through mental distress. Somebody can be traumatized, and they are exhibiting trauma on other people, right? So their response to situations is coming from a place of trauma. that's a mental health issue. That's a mental health concern that needs to be addressed. Somebody can be stressed out and they will be reacting to it from that place of being stressed out. So it can be anybody, it can any response, anything put out there on social media. It can be coming from a mental health distress angle. But you don't know. The person also hasn't sought help. They don't have any support system to address that. And they don't know what is going on with them. This conversation we're having about social media and mental health and cyberbullying, I can assure you that probably before I have this conversation again on media, on a national platform, it could be another 1 year or 2 years. Why? These are conversations that should be happening regularly. A lot of people don't know. And when people don't know, they wouldn't know how to act. They wouldn't know how to identify what is problematic. Right now, if we start counting the incidents of cyberbullying on the internet, a lot of people would be like, what? This is cyberbullying? This is bullying? I was just joking.
Yes,
I was just catching clues.
just joking.
So people don't even know about these things. So even from a government angle, let's create avenues where these conversations are had, where people are aware. So that even if anything happens to you, you're not coming from a place of, I never knew. You are informed. We have armed you with information. It's now up to you as an individual to know what you want to do with it.
Absolutely.
So that is another way of looking at these things. Sometimes it's not always about punishing, censoring, and all. Educate people. Let people know what is going on and how they can prevent such things from happening.
So quickly, just before we go, I just want to know, in summary, number one, use social media intentionally.
Yes.
And number two, get the skills to make you assertive, to make you stand your ground. And number three, mental health conversations need to be happening offline as well as online.
Yes.
That's basically the summary for
Yes.
It's like the care package for social media use.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Aisha Buba, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
We would love to have you again if you have us.
Sure.
Thank you. We'll be going for a break now, but we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Roundup. I'm still Zara Denejo. And this week on Twitter, there was collective shock regarding the arrest of erstwhile Super Cop Abba Kyari on drug trafficking charges by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. As if to silence critics, the NDLEA provided video and audio evidence of the sting operation, with our man negotiating what seemed to be kilos or grams of cocaine. To say that our hearts are broken is an understatement. But what is even more shocking is that our hero cop is still involved or was still involved with police officers and tactical teams while he was on suspension. When the news broke, our hero cop decided to say, no, that's not me. Kind of reminds me of Shaggy. It wasn't me. What do you think? Should he be given a chance at redemption, or has he been fooling us all along? That's our show this week. Thank you for joining me on the Roundup with Zara Denejo, and I will see you next week.